Dear Think BRICS viewers and listeners, today we have a guest, editor-in-chief, may I call you editor-in-chief, voice from Russia.com, Peter Hanseler. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you too. What can you tell us your impressions about the BRICS Summit? Is it the first time you are attending the summits of the highest level?
Yes, that is the first time.
So it's your first experience?
First experience of this big event. My impression, Kazan is the second richest city in Russia. It's extremely clean. That is the first impression.
That's fun.
It's even cleaner than Moscow, which is already clean. And I have never seen so many policemen in my life.
Every 100 meters.
Every 100 meters, 3 guys, and I talked to them, and they said most of them, they don't come from Kazan.
Yeah.
They come from all over Russia, most probably. The security level is incredible. And I understand that because with all the important people here and the geopolitical situation we have, if I were the enemy, that would be my goal and would be my target. And it could not be imagined what would happen if there would be an attack. The security control to get into this sector is
three level of security
3 levels.
control.
And, we have, I think the first day we waited 1.5 hours. We queued up for the security controls, but the organization all in all is excellent. It's extremely friendly. The infrastructure is great, like this interview room. The food is good. It's a very positive. It's a very positive experience. There are, I don't know, 500, 600, 1,000 journalists from all over the world.
From 59 countries, they told.
And yes, we met a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
Each other. That was also absolutely incredible.
And from organization to the summit itself, what did you expect from the summit and what have you got?
I think that we have not received a lot of information so far. If you look at the direct broadcasts, which we get fed into the center on a 15-minute basis every time, a plane lands and the president arrives. But as to the substance, there is not a lot of information. Yesterday there was a press conference at 4:00 from Anton Kobiakov. That was the first information we received when he talked about Turkey.
Yeah.
That Turkey was dancing on
between alliances,
all the weddings, and they are members of NATO. They want to join EU. They want to join BRICS. And it was a very clear statement, a very direct statement.
And
surprised.
And a very tough statement.
They were very tough with Turkey. They basically said at the moment to do their homework, and they have to decide what they want.
Yeah, but at that press conference you're talking about, there was also a question about payment system. Do you remember?
Yes. And I think the statement of Mr. Putin that was in Moscow 5 days ago, at
the business council.
At the business council, and he said there will be no new currency. That has been clear now before. Now the talking about the payment system is going on since, I think, last February. It was announced that they are working on it. And if you look at the efficiency and high level of payment systems which are in place in Russia, I gather that this is not a technical issue. It's a mere political issue. And it doesn't solve the biggest problem. The biggest problem is not the technology to make these payments work. The biggest problem is how to settle the trade surpluses, respectively the trade deficits. And I doubt in a few hours we will have the big press conference of President Putin. I doubt there will be a big announcement.
Well, I should say that I wanted myself to ask the question about that payment system, but the colleague from another media asked first. And I realized that this question is interesting and people are waiting for this information. Because yes, there were talks around this BRICS Bridge, BRICS Pay, that the system that will replace SWIFT and so on. And it's something in the air that we are waiting for. And until now, we don't have this information.
Yes, we have information that they tested it.
Yeah, that the Ministry of Finance and the heads of the central bank, they have a task to work on this system, to implement, and so on and so on. But we have already known it before. So, and me, myself, I expected from this summit that we will get something clear, a statement that will reveal. But by now,
I do not think that there will be a big announcement. To come back, my conclusion is it's not a technical.
So, and we have another question to you that we already started to discuss. That what do you see the biggest hurdles the BRICS nations face in launching an alternative payment system to SWIFT, and why it has taken longer than anticipated? You say it's a political decision.
It's a political issue. I just don't believe. I'm not an expert in payment systems at all. I'm happy if I can manage my money. But the know-how, I understand how the systems work in China, and I very well know how the systems work here in Russia. That means the level of the sophistication of technology cannot be an issue.
No.
And the SWIFT system is relatively primitive. It's not a payment system. It's a message system that it is. And at the end of the day, it's not. The issue is not the technological task to send currency, but what you do with the currency at the end. And then we have a lot of different countries. For example, China and India. China is under more and more pressure from the West, but India is definitely a country which does a lot of business with the West and within BRICS. And you hear that all these countries are under tremendous pressure from the West, basically from the United States.
Yeah.
Because it is in the interest of the collective West, let's call it the collective West, that there is no progress with anything within BRICS. I do not know how they put pressure on India. I understand from business friends in Russia who have to make payments to China that they have in the past few months. They had huge problems, and these are all not with regard to technology. These are pure political issues.
But yesterday there was a Kazan's final declaration, and there was a 36 pages. We read them all. It was not an easy task. By the way, considering the Kazan's declaration's emphasis on financial cooperation, including the use of local currencies and cross-border settlements, how significant do you think a digital settlement platform like BRICS Bridge could be for reducing reliance on Western finance system?
You know, between Russia and India, 95% of all the trades are done in yuan, respectively, Russia. That means they don't use the dollar anymore. Now, between these two countries, Russia has a trade surplus of about 8% out of 240 to 260 billion. That is not a lot. And on top of it, the Russians sit, with regard to the Chinese trade, they sit on the yuan. And the yuan they can easily use for other purposes and spend the money again, because it's a highly accepted currency within the global south. The situation between Russia and India, however, is different, and there is an issue, because they have a trade volume, I think, of, don't keep all the, I'm sure, I'm not 100% sure about the exact figure, but as I remember, it's $65 billion in the last year, and the Russians have a trade surplus of 61 billion. That means Russia sits on a lot of rupees. Now, what do we do with the rupees? And here is, in my opinion, the biggest issue. It's not the issue of the technical issue of transfer and settlement. Is it how do you settle this trade surplus? And this is an issue which was easily dealt with at the times everybody used the dollar, because then you can settle in dollar and you can spend the dollar as you wish. This is not the case anymore, for the simple reason that Russia is cut off the dollar, and a lot of BRICS countries and friendly countries to BRICS do not want, out of political reasons, use the dollar anymore. That means we need to find an alternative. And an alternative, there have been discussions about this unit. The unit, it was shown like it was an official project, which it was not. There was a white paper written by a Chinese and by a Russian gentleman, and they said, yes, we will back this new currency, this unit, 40% by gold and 60% by other currencies, by local currencies. But then you solve the problem for 40%, and for the other 60% you don't solve the problem. The second possibility would be a commodity basket. Now, that looks very good at first sight, but there are different commodities, and the important word in this is the fungibility. Let's take as an example oil. There is not oil. There are more than 30 different types of oil, Brent, Euros, and many others, and they have different characteristics, different qualities, and also different prices. That means that would make it extremely difficult to put them in the basket. You could do it theoretically. But great solutions in life are always the simple solutions. Now, which commodities are fungible? Fungible is gold. If it's 99999, silver 999.9, that's fungible. That would work great. And if you look at history, until 1971, everybody, the gold under the Bretton Woods system, gold was backed. The US dollar was backed by gold. And for thousands of years, this is one of the main reasons gold was used as a currency. Silver also was highly used, and then I think cut off in the 1850s in Great Britain. But The main issue now, you can see, people will not tell you the decisions makers, they play a secret game now, but that means you have to look for indicators, what happens in the background and how people behave. Because if you have gold backing of a trade settlement system, you need gold or you need silver.
And we know that, for example, who is the biggest holder of gold in BRICS?
The biggest holder in BRICS now, we have to look at the official figures.
Official figures.
According to the official figures, the United States, with over 8,000 tons, holds the most gold in the world. But there are a lot of indications that this is not true anymore. That they sold or leased out their gold over the past 40 to 50 years. I simply don't know what's true. The main issue is they have not done an audit since 1953. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you do an audit? Because, to count the heap of gold is not that very difficult, even if the gold is big. Then you look after 2022, there is a lot of gold purchases, and the official holdings of China are, I think, 2,600 tons, and of Russia, 2,700 tons.
I remember a lot of headlines on the Western media. China buys gold. India holds a lot of gold.
China buys gold since the 1980s.
Yeah, and continue doing that.
In the world. And, there is Alistair MacLeod, who is one of the biggest gold experts, and he says that the Chinese hold at least 25,000 tons of gold, and Russia about 12,000 tons of gold. Are they lying? No, they are just cheating a little bit, because they are only reporting the official gold holdings of the central banks. But there are a lot of state funds, organizations like, among others, also the Chinese army is buying a lot of gold. That means the big BRICS countries sit on a lot of gold, and now in the last 1.5 years, the Chinese, the Russians, and the Indians have bought silver like there is no tomorrow. And there are a lot of people who say, yes, the Indians need that for their solar industry. That's possible. But the Chinese now buy gold, 80% ingots directly from the mines, and they are not officially reported. That means there is a lot of indications. Something, this new trade settlement system may have something to do with gold, and maybe with...
I would like to ask you an optimistic vision of tomorrow, what we should expect from the summit, from the positive side.
The world is not yet driven by BRICS. The world is driven by the danger of wars, of more wars. We have 2 wars. We have one in Ukraine, we have one in the Middle East. And what happens in the South Pacific is also not very promising. In the long run, we called BRICS the project of a century. I think we will be right, but these difficult geopolitical situation we have now is also hindering the free development of this great organization.
So we can say that BRICS has a lot to do to lead the world. Well, thank you, Peter. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dear friends, we have to close right now. And I suppose you liked our interview, you liked our discussion, and follow us on YouTube, follow us on Substack. We have a lot of information to give you. Thank you very much.